We're live. Hell yeah, boys. Welcome back. Hydro and Co. episode 2. We've made it 2 weeks. Hey, one more week of this and it's a streak.
No, we're crushing it.
Hey.
Hopefully we can do better than last year.
Yeah, no.
That's the goal.
We're almost 2/3 of the way to where we were last year. So as long as we keep it up, we should make it pretty good. Welcome back to the show. This week we're going to be talking about all things week 1 and talking a little bit about what's going to happen in week 2. I don't know about y'all, but I thought week 1 was pretty great. Football's back, good games, some blowouts, some really good games. But I want to get into first things first. I'll just forewarn you, if you're not a fan of the Eagles, Raiders, or Saints, you might want to skip ahead a little bit because that's who we're going to talk about first. It's our teams. It's our podcast. We want to talk about them. So we'll just do it in order of which the games happen. Chase, Friday night, Rio, fucking little Brazilian action, baby. What do we think?
It was Sao Paulo, by the way. But yeah, the Eagles won 34-29. It wasn't pretty at all times, but the Eagles look good for the most part. I know there's going to be a lot of people that say that Jalen Hurts looked awful, and some points he did look awful. But whenever the offense was clicking, I mean, you can see why the Eagles will have like a top offense this year. I think Kellen Moore brought a lot as far as like schematics to this team. If you watched the game last year and you watched the game on Friday, you could tell a difference. There was actually decent concepts being ran. I mean, we had a wheel route to the running back, and they had clear out routes to open it up for him. It was beautiful. Dallas Goedert got involved. It was good. It was great. It's going to be hard to imagine a team stopping the combination of Saquon, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Saquon, and Jalen. I think I said Saquon twice, but whatever. Defensively, we looked all right. We looked better than what I thought we would. Zach Bond, former Saint, had 15 total tackles, 2 sacks, and he added 2 more QB hits. He played his ass off. And defensive stuff, despite the field conditions, they performed. But all that being said, the field was awful. The field was absolutely atrocious. It looked like they were playing on a slip and slide, and I had PTSD. It flared up because of the Super Bowl in Arizona when we played the Chiefs, because we were sliding everywhere as well during that time. But I'm proud of this team. I'm excited to see what they do. It's unfortunate that the first game was on Friday and then the next game is Monday night. That sucks, but whatever. I'm just happy football's back, and I'm happy the Eagles are 1-0.
Hell yeah. Zach Bond, wish you would have played like that in New Orleans, buddy. But glad you're doing it now. Kendall, you have anything to add?
No. Chase hit it on the head. Eagles look good. Saquon, hopefully he can avoid Beard's curse.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. One thing I will add, though, is that the biggest complaint amongst like Eagles fans and like the beat writers and stuff is like the offense. And the offense put up 34 points, and we're complaining about the offense. We had 2 terrible turnovers, and somehow, some way, we're still complaining. So if 34 points warrants complaining, then man, oh man, it might be a crazy season.
One thing I will say is,
all right.
Oh, never mind then.
My bad. You're good. Right. Go ahead.
The one thing I will say, I don't know, was it a soccer stadium they were playing at? Is that why the field conditions were bad? Yeah, I get it, like different kind of like grass maybe, but you can't have that happen. That was like an injury waiting to happen for somebody, because I thought like Saquon's initial like first carry, whenever he slipped, I thought he got hurt. Like I was like, oh, that didn't look good.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that nobody got hurt because of the field. Obviously, Jordan Love, he got hurt because of like a tackle. Wasn't a dirty play. It wasn't a dirty play at all. But it's crazy, because if you watch the game, people were literally trying to stop and just full on just sliding. If a cleat got stuck, then their knees done, fucked. But I'm glad nobody got seriously hurt.
Yeah, I think part of it too, like I'm no meteorologist, but Brazil, the rainforest, pretty humid place, and it was a turf and grass field, so it wasn't one or the other. I feel like the humidity probably made the field really like morning dew when you walk outside first thing in the morning. And
Right.
I bet it with the lights and everything else and the fucking amount of people around, like I bet it was like playing on a fucking slip and slide.
Yeah.
For sure. I hope that if they do go back and they do these foreign games, that they try to create an environment that I'd rather them not go to Brazil at all than have someone get hurt because of the field conditions in a different country.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
but moving on to the 12 o'clock window for Sunday, the Saints played. And the Saints kicked some fucking ass, is what they fucking did. By God. Derek Carr looked like a fucking different person. I don't know what he was fucking smoking Sunday, but I hope he keeps it up for the rest of the season. I will say one thing. Yes, he had 200 yards, not a whole lot, but I mean, he did get pulled like halfway through the fourth quarter. Didn't really have to throw the ball a lot because we were averaging fucking 4.9 yards per carry. I mean, when you're running the ball that well, like you can kind of be complimentary with it and not have to throw as much. He had 3 touchdowns. One was a fucking pick 96% of the time. That fucking cross the field throw to Foster that he was able to snag over the defender was going to be a pick. So we did have some good high spots though. We ran the ball really well. Defense played great. Bryce Young looked like absolute dog shit. The problem I did see though, we had 10 penalties for 95 yards. That's essentially a touchdown allowed in penalties. And with our next 4 games, not in order, but we play Kansas City, Philly, Atlanta, and Dallas the next 4 weeks. So we're going through the fucking gauntlet, and things like penalties are going to be the difference between us being able to beat a team like Atlanta or Dallas or even Philadelphia potentially, or lose. Because I know how good Philly looked. I know how good all these teams look. If we allow 95 yards in penalties, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. But I will get back to Bryce Young for a second. That motherfucker can't pick up a blitz to save his life. I don't know how much of the game. I know y'all probably didn't watch much of it. Alontae Taylor, a cornerback, had 3 sacks. And this wasn't like a designed corner blitz where he was disguised and covered. Because, I mean, a lot of the times when you think of like secondary players getting up in the box, like they're trying to disguise it pretty well. There were two of those 3 sacks. He was on the line of scrimmage, and the fucking safety or the corner on his side was 8 yards off the receiver, and they were in 2-by-2. So they had 2 receivers. Alontae's on the line, and then you had your other corner 8 yards off the ball. All Bryce had to do was shift the protection left, and he's got one of those 2 receivers wide open. He didn't. Alontae ran right through, fucking uncovered, and killed him 3 times. 2 of those 3 times being lined up on the line of scrimmage. One of the times it was like a cornerback blitz where he's kind of disguised and he sneaks up off the edge. But he just looked like he was not ready to play. And I know that we have a really good defense and we're a veteran defense, but I mean, for the number 1 pick in the year before last draft, not looking good. So that's all I got for the Saints this week. Hell of a game. We got Dallas next week. We're going to try to kick their ass for Chase and our other friends that like teams in the NFC East. So we'll try our best there.
Surprisingly enough, before I had to go to my wedding shower, I was actually flipping to that Saints game. I don't know why, but I was just flipping to it just to kind of watch. And watching DC for what I got to watch brought a tear to my eye, I must say. It looked like 2016 Raiders, Derek Carr in that game.
That's an awesome segue to your game, by the way.
Huh?
So that's an awesome segue to your game, by the way, because I'm assuming we're talking about quarterbacks in your game.
Yeah, we are. That's a good lead into what I'm going to say. All right, so Raiders went out this offseason. Huge signing of Gardner Minshew, massive. And that's sarcastic, by the way. To come in and compete with AOC, and all during camp or whatever, like neither one of them took the job, and it was kind of just given to Gardner by default. Like it was a close race, but neither one of them took the job. It was kind of like Gardner just kind of got defaulted to the job. But defense in this game played its ass off for 90%. I'm gonna just go through some drives here. So first quarter, we have a turnover on downs. Raiders, we'll go for it on fourth. Don't get it. Sets Chargers up like midfield. Defense holds them to a field goal. Later in the game was Gardner's fumble where he was going to throw a screen pass. He recognized it was about to be a pick six, so he tried to pull it back and it slipped, fumbled. Defense yet again held them to a punt. They didn't even score off that. And then on Zamir White's fumble later in the game, held them to another field goal. So they're getting set up with horrible field position for a defense and 3 turnovers. We hold them to 6 points. I do put some blame on Gardner, but I'm going to put just as much, if not more, blame on Luke Getsy, our new offensive coordinator. Came over from the Bears. I don't know if y'all remember, but I don't remember the Bears having some successful offense here recently. Might be because of him, might be because of Justin Fields, who knows. But that's our offensive coordinator. So I don't know if this is going to continue. If it is, it's going to be a long year, no matter who's playing quarterback. There was too many like kind of drag screens, like RPOs, that kind of stuff. And at some point, I know he's not the best, but you just got to let Gardner just try to push the ball downfield. And we just wouldn't. It was just a punt fest for a lot of the game. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that we play better against the Ravens, but it's obviously the Ravens, one of the best teams in the league. So they're going to have to come out with a better game plan than that if we have even a chance.
It's a tough game, huh? That's a very tough game.
Yeah. It was, first of all, anybody doesn't know, I started late. I turned my phone off because I was at my wedding shower. Started late, anxious all day to come see this, had no idea what was going on. As I'm watching this, I'm like, man, this is like kind of boring for week one. I was like, this is like defense looks great, but every time our offense got on the field, it was like, really? Again?
I hear you. I feel bad for you. 'Cause I was thinking about you the whole time. I was like, man, he's going to be in for just sadness whenever he flips this game on. He gets to where we're at because that one where he tried to like tuck the fumble where he like tried to throw it away or like try to keep it and he just threw it behind him. I was like, oh man, that's rough.
It looked to me like it was another screen, and he realized it was just about to get picked for 6. They were all over it, and he just tried to hold on to it. And you see,
Probably should have just threw it, huh?
Probably should have just threw it. Yeah, there was multiple times. I told Cody this too. There was multiple times throughout that game where I'm sitting there thinking, especially like third quarter, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, defense is just going to have to score a touchdown to win. Like, our defense is going to have to score to win. And anytime you have those kind of thoughts going through your mind, it was a rough day.
Unless you're the Bears.
Unless you're the Bears. Yes.
We'll get to that in a minute. All right. That caps all of our teams through week one. I think now we're going to try something that we haven't done before for the first time. We're going to quickly recap each game this week that wasn't our team. I have a quick little paragraph or two about each team, each game that wasn't our 3 games. And after that, we'll kind of talk about some key takeaways from this week in general. So, good.
We're good. Take off, buddy.
All right. So we're ready for me to go?
Yep.
All right. So, Chiefs, Ravens. Oh, you're good. You're good. Okay. Ravens traveled to Arrowhead on Thursday night to take on Kansas City. I think there was only one thing more abundant than the amount of times we saw Taylor Swift, and that was the amount of flags on the field. 13 penalties combined throughout the game. Both offensive lines getting called a lot, really setting the tone on those new illegal formation, false start rules. Ultimately, the debut of Lamar and Derrick Henry was dampened by the Chiefs' offense. Rashee Rice, Crashee Rice, whatever you want to call him, Xavier Worthy, both had pretty big games, and the Ravens fall 27-20. Isaiah Likely, probably need to get a pair of white cleats, bud. That's all I have for that game. Moving on, Giants Vikings. Sam Darnold redemption story begins in Minnesota. They play the Giants week 1. Aaron Jones also beginning his career in purple after a long career in Green Bay. They both played pretty well. Darnold also found Justin Jefferson in the end zone. That's always good to see, especially for the fantasy owners. Rookie Malik Neighbors was left with his head scratched. He was scratching his head after that game. Like, what the fuck did I get myself into? Giants offense was terrible, held to just 6 points. Daniel Jones continues to look worse and worse. 2 picks on Sunday, and Brian Dable's seat only grows warmer as the Giants fall 28-6. Moving on to Titans and Bears. Number 1 pick, Caleb Williams debuts against a Tennessee team with hopes of improvement in 2024. We had a lot of friends excited about the man with painted nails. Both teams left things to be desired. Caleb Williams couldn't even break in the air. Other hand, Will Levis looked even worse, had 2 interceptions. Defense and special teams was the name of the game in this game. Like I said in our group chat the other day, you didn't lose to Caleb Williams. You lost to Caro Santos and Jalen Johnson. 3 field goals, a block punt, touchdown, and a pick 6 would be enough to beat the Titans 24-17. If you saw it, I love the picture of Will Levis's last pick of the game where he's on his knees and his hands are on his head like this. He's just like, what the fuck? That picture was the summary of that entire game in itself. Moving on to the AFC South, Texans and Colts play. 2 young, promising teams enter. One team came out with the win. CJ Stroud got Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs involved. A lot of people were worried about, the target share and how it was going to work. If you're a Tank Dell owner, you're pretty pissed off because he only had one reception. But Stephon Diggs had 6 for 2 tuds, and Nico Collins had 6 for like $140. So both of those guys got a lot of love. Joe Mixon, 159 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Did not expect that, to be honest with you. I honestly didn't think this would be his year. But the Colts and AR5 were shaky, to say it lightly. He threw 47% from the field, but still looked pretty decent, all things considered. Had a really good touchdown run. Alec Pierce had 125 yards through the air on 3 receptions, so that really helps his yards per reception a lot. Was not good enough. Essentially, the difference, it's 29-27 game. AR5 had the turnover, CJ didn't, and that's your difference there. Moving on to Pats Bengals, I'm not going to lie. I don't know many people who were watching this game that didn't want to see Joe Burrow, but he didn't look very good. Gerard Mayo in New England came in and kind of took one from him. Low-scoring defensive battle. It was a very boring game. Cincinnati won the turnover margin. They rushed for 100 more yards, and they didn't struggle as bad through the air. Bengals, they didn't have T. Higgins. Jamar Chase just came back, from a hold in. They hadn't played all preseason. So he's kind of ramping up as well. Jacoby Brissett did what he needed to do. He managed the game. He relied on his running back, Ramondre Stevenson. He kind of took over there for a little while, and they won 16-10. So nothing really crazy, just kind of grinded one out. And I think that's how New England's going to have to win a lot of their games if they want plan to win any this year. Moving on, Cardinals-Bills. This game was one of the better games of the week, back and forth kind of game. It came down to the wire. We had 2 teams with quarterbacks with different questions. Josh Allen's is, what is he going to do without Stephon Diggs? What is he going to do with arguably no receiving core? And then the answer to that question is he spread the love a lot. He hit 9 different people. And Mac Hollins and Khalil Shakir came down with the touchdowns. But when you're hitting 9 different targets, you're just spreading the love around. Kyler Murray comes into the season with a new number 1 receiver in Marvin Harrison. And the real question is this kind of the year where they finally turn around? They've been in a rebuild for a little bit now. Can this be the year? And the answer to that question is not yet. Marvin Harrison had 1 reception the whole game. And the offense, though, did come out hot. I mean, they're up 17-3 at one point, but they let it slip away. And some special team magic from DJ Dallas was not enough as the Cardinals fall 28-34. So close, but not close enough. Moving on. Steelers Falcons. You have two teams with brand new quarterbacks going into the season. Just so happens that one of those teams is starting a quarterback they did not expect to start. Justin Fields got the start this week. Russell Wilson being hurt. I think the big thing here is Justin didn't do anything to lose the game. He was just kind of there and the ball off a lot. Like Arthur Smith was in his bag. They ran 41 fucking times in that game against Atlanta, which is ironic to say the least. The Falcons were sloppy with 2 interceptions thrown by Kirk. He didn't look very good. A lot of people were questioning his footwork after the game. And he also had a fumble, too. Kyle Pitts had a touchdown at least. So, fantasy owners of Kyle Pitts, it might be get a little bit of hope. But you never know. The Falcons' true enemy was the Steelers kicker. Chris Boswell scored all 18 points in an 18-10 win against the Falcons. So you want to talk about losing to fucking Caro Santos? The Falcons lost to Chris Boswell. That motherfucker had 6 kicks, and he nailed them all, and they went on to win the game. Moving on to the Battle of Florida. Jags Dolphins. Fuck the Bucks. We're not worried about them. They don't even count. The Dolphins were able to combine the 400 yards of offense with the help of Devon Achane and the ability for Tyreek Hill to speed past the haters both on and off the field. This performance only resulted in 20 points, though. The Jaguars had a balanced attack and were able to get rookie Brian Thomas involved early, but it came down to the very end of the game, and Jason Sanders has ice in his motherfucking veins. Kickers, again, come in clutch, and they win this game 20-17. Broncos Seahawks. This is a short one because I don't think anybody really gives a fuck about either of these two teams. Rookie quarterback Bo Nix got the challenge of playing his first game at the 12th man in Seattle, which doesn't mean as much as it used to, but it's still a tough place to play. Rookie struggled, 2 interceptions, was able to get in the end zone with his legs, though. Geno Smith also got him one with his legs, just like a 35-yard touchdown run, which is kind of funny because I don't see Geno Smith breaking one out for 35 yards very often. They found Zach Charbonnet for a passing touchdown, and Kenneth Walker also got one in on the ground. Combine that all together, they win 26-20. Cowboys-Browns. Houston, we had a problem, but now it's Cleveland's. As Deshaun Watson had a completion percentage close to 50% and 2 turnovers, as the Cowboys defense was able to sack Deshaun 6 times. That's fucking crazy. The Cowboys were clicking on all 3 phases with a special teams touchdown alongside 4 field goals. This game was not particularly close, even though garbage time, Jerome Ford touchdown helped a lot of people win a lot of money. So congrats to the people who won parlays on Jerome Ford at the very end of the game there. And nonetheless, the Browns lose 33-17. Really is 33-10, but they had that little garbage time touchdown there at the end. Commanders Bucks. Wes, this is for you, man. Cleveland wish they had this guy right now. Baker Mayfield was a fucking dog. 80% completion percentage, 4 tuds against a defense in Washington that's usually considered solid. I wouldn't consider them bad enough to give up 400 yards plus. Mr. Reliable Mike Evans puts up 2 tuds. Chris Godwin got in the end zone. Rookie Jalen McMillan also got in the end zone. And then while we're talking about rookies, we can talk about Jaden Daniels. I think he showed a lot of upside in this game. He threw for 184 yards, but also at the same time led his team in rushing. I don't think that'll be the last time we see that this year, and it'll probably be the first of many times where he leads his team in rushing. Both his touchdowns came on the ground and showed that he's a true dual threat. Features bright in Washington, but the Buccaneers take this one 37-20. Rams Lions. I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. You quickly regretted that if you have Puka Nacua in your fantasy lineup. He got hurt early, but that opened up Cooper Kupp for 14 receptions for 110 yards. Kendall, I know you're fucking feeling on cloud 9 about that one right now.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams took some time to get in the groove, but the 2-headed monster of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery both had touchdowns with David's putting it away in overtime as the Lions won 26-20 in OT. Last game, Jets, 49ers, in San Fran. Ricky Pearsall's in the stadium. Are you ready for some football? The Jets sure as hell are not. The 49ers went to fucking work and whooped their fucking ass without CMC. Jake Moody carried the fucking ship in this one too, just like Chris Boswell, just like Caro Santos. This was the week of the kicker. He had 18 points. And they had rushing touchdowns from both Debo and Jordan Mason, and that was enough to beat the Jets 32-19. And that, my friends, is week 1 of the NFL season.
Good job. Good job,
Good
buddy.
job, Wyatt.
Thank you. So, Kendall, Chase, what's some key takeaways we have for week 1 so I can shut up for a little bit?
I'll go first. My first takeaway is, yes, the Bills won the game, but I think it's pretty clear that they needed a playmaker. And I don't know if they go out and get that at the trade deadline or what, but I think whenever you play some of the better teams that aren't the Arizona Cardinals, you're just going to have somebody step up and help out Josh Allen. Josh Allen, the Bills were down 17-3 at one point in that game. I think it was at the end of the second quarter. And he had a 7-yard rush touchdown, threw back-to-back touchdowns to Matt Collins and Shakir, and then ran in another 6-yard touchdown. I think if you play an elite team, like somebody's going to have to step up and be a target for Josh Allen more consistently.
Yeah, I think the biggest question going forward is Josh Allen, with the way he played Sunday, is he going to make it through the whole season? Because he took some shots. I mean, but he had to do what he had to do because he wasn't getting really any help from anywhere else. I mean, James Cook had a decent day on the ground, but other than that, when it comes to his receivers, his top receiver was Keon Coleman with 4 receptions for 51 yards. His top guy, which would probably be Dalton Kincaid, didn't really do much. He had 1 reception for 11 yards. So it's like, where's the help going to come from on this team? And to be honest with you, I couldn't answer because I have no idea where it's going to come from. I think the problem with having a tight end as like your top guy is you can easily put a bigger body corner on him that's good in coverage, and you can pretty much shut him down. So between Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, and I guess Matt Collins, somebody's got to really step up and make some plays. And I don't know who it's going to be. Keon Coleman, I think, has a bright future, but I don't think he's one of those guys that was ready to step in and be like a top guy right away. I think he would have benefited from having Stephon Diggs, ahead of him in the depth chart. But I mean, I really don't know where the help's going to come in. I don't think this Bills team is going to be great, especially if Josh Allen has to do this week in, week out. Plus, he hurt his hand too. Don't forget that. Even though I think it was his left hand, but still.
Not throwing hand.
Yeah, so it's just a big question mark in Buffalo, and I'm eager to see what happens because I think at the trade deadline you could easily see them going for a playmaker. But until then, it might be tough sledding.
Yeah, I think within the building, what they have now, Dalton Kincaid's probably their best. Like, I guess he's got the best chance to become a guy consistently in that offense. But until he can actually show it, I'd be on the phones right now with any team willing to sell a receiver, whatever, to try to get him some help.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one thing to keep in mind with them too is their cap situation isn't great. They're trying to rebuild a lot of their cap. That's why you had guys like Tre'Davious White leave and some of their bigger defensive mainstays. So it might be one of those things where they're kind of like how the Rams did about 2 years ago, where they kind of let the cap reset on itself so they can kind of retool. So I think personally, Keon Coleman's probably the best chance for someone to break out in that offense. I think Dalton Kincaid can still be good, but like Chase said, it is a lot easier to shut down a number 1 tight end than it is to shut down a number 1 receiver. So I think Keon had a really good start, but like I said, my burn, he just spread the love around so much, and I think that's going to continue. 6, 7, 8 receivers are going to get the ball, really just playing who's open, because there's no one on that team right now that is guaranteed to force separation on an elite corner. And you can't really ask Keon to do that because he's not been in the league long enough to really develop. So I do agree, like thinking of guys like T. Higgins who are kind of disgruntled. You get closer to the trade deadline if the Raiders start sucking, hopefully not, but you got Devontae Adams as someone who might want the fuck out. No, sorry, Kendall. I'm not trying to plant that. I think y'all will be fine. I don't think you're going to trade Devontae Adams anytime soon. But I'm just thinking of wide receivers that could get canned out to Buffalo and want to go play for a contender. So
Fuck you.
sorry, Cody's gonna be so fucking mad about that. I can't wait.
Yeah, I will say if in a world Devontae gets traded, you will see a no Connell at a quarterback.
All right, Chase. Who do you have to talk about this week?
Well, I want to talk about this. I was going to talk about the Jets, but I do want to talk about how if somehow, some way, in a world where, what's the thing? I'll draw like Jordan Mason was on the free agent last night. I think I would have whooped your ass because I think I had Jordan Mason, and I and I had Nick Moody, or not Nick Moody, Jake Moody. Sorry,
Moody.
yeah, and that was like 50-something points, I think, and that's what I needed, but that's neither here nor there. But I think it's crazy though that I don't know if you guys saw the sequence, but they interviewed Jordan Mason after the game. He was excited. They're like, "Hey, when did you know you're going to start?" And he was like, "Friday."
Mm-hmm.
And so then they asked Shanahan. He was like, "No, we didn't do that." And then at the press conference, Jordan Mason was very upset. And I felt bad for him because he had a great game. He had 28 carries, 147 yards, a touchdown, and then his night was ruined because he probably got chewed out for answering that question because they can definitely get in trouble for that. Not only just for like fantasy purposes, because fantasy is a big like drawing point for the sport. It's also betting implications, and that's huge now. Betting is like a big time thing, and also it's just a competitive thing. It's what the NFL they're going to do something about it, I think. But my thing is the Jets lost, right? And the Jets have had high expectations for the past 2 years or so. Last year obviously didn't happen because this time last year Aaron Rodgers snapped his Achilles, right? So this year he's back. He had a tough matchup at first against San Francisco. We all know San Francisco's defense is they're pretty good. I hate San Francisco, so I'm not going to give them all the credit in the world, but they're pretty good. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers looked too great. Maybe I wasn't watching close enough, but I feel like he looks like he's not the Aaron Rodgers maybe they thought they were going to get. Obviously, it's week 1. We get it. But I don't know. How do you guys feel about the Jets going forward? Do you think that they're going to be a playoff team by the end of the season, or do you think they might be in trouble?
I'm still high on him personally. I think it was kind of more of, even though he is old, he's a veteran. Like he hasn't actually played a football game in 2 years. Like unless you want to count the first drive from last year, which I'm not going to. With that and combine that with the 49ers have always kind of owned Aaron Rodgers in his career. I think it was kind of a mixture of both, kind of knocking off the rust and very, very tough first matchup. But I think the Jets, I've seen enough out of 1 or 2 drives to where I'm like, okay, I think they'll be a good team.
Yep. I think my big problem is they also have Hassan Reddick, and I think that like I hate using the word vibes, but I feel like the vibes in like the locker room might be down just because of that situation. Because it would be nice to have him. I guarantee you, they wish they had him. Because Hassan Reddick is a playmaker. He can change the game because he can get sacks, multiple sacks a game if he wants to. But he's holding out. He's not happy. I don't know why the Jets traded for him. They didn't have a contract ready for him. But that's neither here nor there. But ultimately, I'm just sad this wasn't closer. Tyrod Taylor looked fantastic in his brief appearance. I mean, 6 for 8, 36 yards and a touchdown.
Quarterback controversy in New York.
That's what I'm saying. 122.9 passer rating. You shitting me? Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers puts up an 82. Come on now. Come on.
Carolina, go get this man. Go trade for his ass.
And Tyrod Taylor outran Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had 1 carry for -1 yards. Tyrod Taylor had a carry for 7. That's positive yardage. You can't beat that in today's NFL. So, but yeah, I think the Jets. I think they'll be okay. But I would watch them because I don't know if I believe in Aaron Rodgers just yet to carry a team to the playoffs.
All right. Well, my takeaway for this week is all about Deshaun Watson. So, mainly I want to talk about the implications of Deshaun long term, but also in the short term. So, right now, Deshaun this week threw for 169 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks, and threw for 53% completion percentage. Not very good. And a lot of people in the world of sports have been saying, start Jameis, start Jameis, start Jameis. They're not going to start Jameis, and the reason why is because of the cap implications of this contract. Now you're probably wondering, you're probably saying, why the fuck does that matter? Well, you're not going to pay that much money for a fucking backup. You're going to let him sit there and fucking work through it and try to get better, and you're not going to sit there and just let him sit on your bench. And the big reason why is a lot of people are like, what if they cut him? So let's just play theoreticals here. If they cut him before June 1st of next year, they owe him $172 million in dead cap money. I don't know the math on that compared to Russell's, but I think Russell's was less than 80 million. I think it was like 70 something million. So that's a huge difference. That's unprecedented. We've never seen a quarterback or any player have that big of a dead cap hit get released, or really have that big of a dead cap hit at all. So let's say, okay, well, we can trade him, right? You could, but you're still going to have dead cap because you have to pay those voided years out on his contract that you restructured this offseason. You also are going to have to pay the team that you're trading him to a majority of that deal, because no fucking team in their right mind is going to take that massive ass contract for a quarterback that hasn't done anything. So let's get back to and even furthermore, he has a no trade. So you're strapped there too. On top of that, if you cut them post June 1, which is what a lot of teams do, that's when the new NFL year starts. A lot of players, you can save more money by cutting them post June 1. If they do that, essentially what it does, it takes that $172 million cap hit and it splits it between 2 years. So if I'm the GM of the Cleveland Browns and I cut Deshaun Watson on June 2nd of next year, I have a dead cap hit of $86 million in 2025 and 2026. Now, the crazy part about this is some teams, like the Broncos last year with Russell Wilson, they said, fuck it, we're going to do this shit. We're going to release them. We're going to figure our cap out, and we're going to go from there. The problem with this team is they're already $65 million over the cap going into next season. Every year you get about $50 million from the TV deals going up, so that puts them at about negative $15 million before the dead cap hit of Deshaun. So you're at about a negative $100 million. You can't go into the season negative. You gotta clear that dead cap. So the only way they could do that, when I was reading an article about this today, the only way they could with their roster get from that point back to a reasonable number is they'd have to get rid of Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Wyatt Teller, players like that. It was like their next 5 highest cap hits would all have to be released or traded in order to fill up that hole that Deshaun Watson would leave. They're not going to do that. No team in their right mind is going to fucking do that. So essentially what I'm saying by all this is you are stuck with Deshaun for the next 3 seasons. Because even, like, Chase, let's say you're like, man, well, 2026, they can get rid of his fucking ass. They still owe him over $70 million fucking dollars in 2026. Whether they cut him next year or in 2 years, they got a Russell Wilson size cap hit sitting in their fucking wallet waiting to hit. Because that money's because that's a fully guaranteed fucking contract. I don't know why they did it. It's the worst contract in the history of the NFL by far, and it's going to bite the Browns in the ass for the next 3 years. And they just got to hope at this point that Deshaun's going to turn it around, because Jameis is not going to start. You're not paying a fucking backup quarterback $70 fucking million a year to just sit. So, all in all, if you're a Browns fan, I'm sorry. You're stuck with Deshaun for the next 3 years. I'd say the next 2, because teams have, you saw the Broncos do it with Russell Wilson. They did. They got rid of him. They took the $70 million cap hit. So, honestly, you have Deshaun for 2. You got him for this year and next year before you can release him. So have fun with that. It will be a long 2 years.
Can somebody remind me how that worked out? How that they traded him and then signed him?
Yes.
Okay, so Houston didn't have him on that contract already, right?
Mm-mm.
That's crazy.
Like, I saw a graphic today of like all the players they've drafted with the draft picks they got from the Watson deal. It's fucking nuts. Like half their fucking roster has came out of that deal, and
that
that
was-
was solid players.
Wasn't Deshaun a holdout, and then all that the lawsuit things happened, and then he got traded?
Yes.
Yes,
so.
yeah. He was holding out for a new contract, so he was still on like his rookie deal, and then the Browns gave him that contract.
That's crazy. That is
Yeah.
absolutely wild.
Mhm.
I'll say this, just because I thought about it all day, because I look forward to this podcast, this recording. So like I was like, all right, I know what we're going to talk about. So I want to speak, I guess, my piece about Deshaun. It's crazy though that he's even playing in the NFL, because like I try to keep like stuff outside of football, like outside of it. I want to talk about football, especially on a podcast, because I don't want to be like super negative. There's a lot of negative things out in the world, so I don't want to bring it into like our little world. But the fact that he's playing football after all of the stuff happened is crazy. First off, secondly, I feel bad for everybody involved, but Deshaun Watson is an awful football player too. He looked like terrible. And what's upsetting for Browns fans is you look at your team, especially your defense, and you're like, man, this is like a Super Bowl caliber defense right here. And then you look at offense and you're like, oh my God. But even then, you got pieces. Like Jerome Ford is a solid guy to have, especially, I mean, Nick Chubb, once Nick Chubb comes back, who knows? He could have, his career could have been done, So, so who knows what he'll be like when he comes back. But Jerome Ford's good. You got David Njoku, who is, I feel like, a very underrated tight end. You got Jerry Jeudy now, who I think can, well, with good quarterback play, he could probably be pretty good. You still got Amari Cooper. You got Elijah Moore. You got pieces there. And then you got Deshaun Watson throwing 24 for 45, 169 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. For those of you who can't do math or don't want to do math, he's averaging 3.8 yards per completion. You know how bad that is?
How bad
That's
is it,
awful.
Chase?
That's awful. I feel like me, an armchair quarterback, could probably do that in my sleep. Not gonna lie to you. He was also sacked 6 times, and here's a stat for you: he got hit 17 times.
Oh my God.
I mean, it wasn't a
Fucking
fun
Andrew
game.
Luck out here.
Yeah, it wasn't a fun game, but like a lot of it, you can probably blame the offensive line for some of it, but a lot of it was him just holding the ball for so long. I mean, Micah Parsons himself had 5 hits on him. DeMarcus Lawrence had 4. They're having a field day, and good for them, I guess, because man, oh man, it's tough. And then, of course, I'm an Eagles fan, so I hate the Cowboys. So Cowboys fans are gonna be like, "Well, we put 33 points up on the Browns' elite defense." I'm like, "Yeah, but if the offense does nothing, I mean, you're going to score eventually." And so I feel bad for Browns fans, because I feel like this was the year. You feel good about it. You feel great going into this year. In a Week 1 game, you got a nice little test against the Cowboys, and you absolutely just stink it up. And I feel so bad for you guys. I hope that it gets better, but it's not going to get better as long as Deshaun Watson is your quarterback.
Couple things until we move on. So, for anybody who doesn't know, QBR, it is quarterback rating. It is rating how you're playing the position. Scale of 1, how you're playing the position as a whole. Scale 1 to 100. Deshaun got a 9. Scale of 1 to 100, he got a 9.3 for anybody being exact. For passer rating, I think it goes up to 150.
It's like 146.2, I think.
Yeah,
It's like
somewhere in,
I thought it was 158.3.
anywhere from 140 to 160. Anyway, whatever the max is, he was nowhere near it. He got a 51 passer rating. That is rating
158.3.
158.3, and he got a 51. So yeah, the Browns, the way their roster is constructed, outside of quarterback, they're ready to roll, they're ready to compete, and they're just stuck in this quarterback carousel, and they just cannot get out of it. And then the last thing is You would think of the Browns, you think run first, pound the rock. I don't care what the score is. If you take Deshaun Watson's rushing, scrambling attempts out of it, they handed the ball off to Jerome Ford 12 times and Pierre Strong twice. So it's 14 carries to a running back. The Browns are not going to win like that. I don't care if they're down 2 touchdowns. You've got to run the ball if you're the Browns.
I'm going to add insult to injury real quick.
Go for it. I'm going to add one more thing before we move on.
Okay. So this trade we talked about, right? Houston traded Deshaun before they signed this mega deal, right? Do y'all know who all was involved that this trade resulted in? Because I'm about to tell you.
I think Tank Dell is one of them, right?
Rookie of the year, Will Anderson Jr.
Oh, bang.
Starting wide receiver, Tank Dell. Starting left guard, Kenyon Green. Starting free safety, Kalen Bullock. Starting cornerback, Kamari Lassiter. Wide receiver, John Machie III. Linebacker, Christian Harris. Running back, Damian Pierce. Linebacker, Jamal Hill. And tight end, Cade Stover. They also have an extra 2025 second-round pick because of the compensation they received. So that could also become a very solid player next year. All from this fucking trade. Mind you, the Browns got all of Deshaun Watson back in return. So you line those players up. Now, if you have Deshaun Watson, how he played in Houston, I would say that's equal value. But right now, Will Anderson playing better by far and away than Deshaun Watson on his own. Plus, you have 6 starters on your fucking team out of that trade. So, if the Texans go on to win a lot of games, maybe win a Super Bowl, let's just fucking be crazy here. They can honestly sit there and say half of our starting team that won us a Super Bowl came from the loins of trading Deshaun Watson's bitch ass. Whatever his last name is.
Deshaun Jackson, baby.
Deshaun Jackson right now at fucking 40 years old would be more valuable than this fucking kid.
That's
I'm not
bad.
disagreeing with you, buddy.
It's bad.
He looks like Bryce Young right now, and he's getting paid $250 million.
I'd rather have Bryce Young on his contract for sure.
Yeah.
You can release him right now. The cap hit would be like 26, 28 million. His cap hits $172 billion fucking dollars.
That's a lot of money, man. To watch that.
That is entire team's cap spaces in general. Some of these smaller market, he could fucking pay the Rays payroll 3 times over just on the dead cap.
This is gonna be one of those things we talk about later on in our life, from like 50, 60. And don't like we're talking about like terrible like contracts and trades. Like who's the guy from the Mets? What's it, Bonilla or something?
Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah. Well, everybody talks about it every year because he gets that $1 million. This is gonna be one of those things we talk about later on in life too. Awful. Just awful GMing.
Chase, do you have anything more to add, or are we good to move on?
Yeah, this is related to the game, but actually isn't related to the Browns that we're talking about. I know Kendall won't have an opinion on it because he wasn't watching the game. But how do you think Tom Brady did in his first, I guess, his first game he commentated, right?
Yeah.
I didn't like his voice on the clips I've seen.
I didn't like
he's
it
just he's just got a little weird little whine in his voice, and I'm not saying that as a diss to Tom. Like, he probably has some really cool insight. It's just the tone in which he's talking is kind of annoying. Like, he just needs to drop it down a little bit. Like, he kind of gets like, oh yeah, like,
yeah,
chill down.
From what I heard, y'all back me up on this. That's true. But I listened to a podcast, NFL podcast, and they were talking about this. And the dude said that there was times where he would go to like try to show his knowledge, like Tony Romo would do when he first started, and then he would like stop himself. Did y'all ever catch that? Like, he ever just stopped and there was just awkward silence for a few seconds?
Yeah, I think it was more so like he would start talking, but in the middle of the sentence he would stop and then start again. He just didn't like speak in complete sentences. He would just pause for no reason, and like it just because like I had the 4 box because thank God for Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV. I like that shit, especially when there's 4 games on in like the late afternoon window. And I went over to the Commanders game to listen to that. I think Greg Olson was on that one. Whoever it was, I don't care who it was. was night and day, just better than Tom Brady. And I feel bad for Tom Brady because, like, I know he probably feels just all the pressure in the world because he is now that top guy, and he struggled. And I'm sure, like, as he does it week by week, he'll like be able to share his knowledge like Tony Romo did. Tony Romo, I think, is pretty good at it. Sometimes he does go overboard with like trying to over explain everything, but I think Tom Brady can be good. It's just like, man, that was a terrible debut, and I feel bad for Greg Olsen because Greg Olsen is one of the best
He's
ones.
He
good.
got gypped.
Yeah, he's
He got
great.
fucking gypped.
He is really good. You don't realize it until he's not there anymore, and you start to appreciate some of the better ones we've had. Even like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are like, they're like, I know they get a lot of crap, but like they're top notch. Chris Collinsworth still sucks. Don't know how he got it, but it is what it is. But I think Tom Brady will get better. Just man, oh man,
Here we go.
what?
I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I would night and day rather listen to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman than Chris Collinsworth any day of the
Oh
week.
yeah, I missed them on Fox.
Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels fucking duo.
Yeah,
Give me those two guys. I like Chris Collinsworth's voice. I don't know. I like how he calls games. I
can't stand it.
I like Troy Aikman. I don't like Joe Buck.
Anytime you have a Chris Collinsworth game, like the first replay all the way to the last replay, as soon as that replay starts, oh look at this right here.
here's the guy. Now here's the guy.
Yeah, that's a lunch pail guy right there. That's a clock in and clock out kind of guy.
Or if there's like a penalty that really costs a team, it's oh
yeah. And I get it.
I can't stand it.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next segment, boys. We're going to talk about, now that we've talked about all the games, we've talked about the takeaways that we've had, let's hand out some awards. So we're going to start this each and every week. We have 2 awards we're going to hand out. I'll kind of talk about the criteria of each. You have the ass of the week. Because if you've watched any of our prior episodes, we always used to rate our tier lists A, B, C, D, and ass. So, if you're the ass player of the week or the ass of the week, I like that better. You suck dick this week. You could go from ass of the week to game ball, which we'll talk about here in a second. We also have an award called game ball of the week. This is going to go to a player or a position group or a team that had a really good week. So let's just give them both out. Kendall, who is your ass of the week, and who are you giving your game ball to?
So my ass of the week should come to no surprise if anybody listens to me talk at all during the off season. I know Chase is going to love this one. My ass of the week is Drake London because everybody was so high on this guy, and especially fantasy football purposes, because they just went out and got Kirk Cousins, and this offense is supposed to be better. No Arthur Smith, whatever. And I totally understand that. But I guess they were expecting Drake London to turn into Justin Jefferson, and that definitely did not happen. Drake London had a total of 2 catches for 15 yards. So Drake London gets Kendall's first ass of the week.
All right. How about your game ball?
Game ball, touched on it earlier. My game ball goes to Josh Allen. Down 17-3 with right before 2-minute warning in the first half. It's almost halftime. You're down 14. 7-yard rushing touchdown. Come out in the second half. You throw back-to-back 11-yard touchdowns to Matt Collins and Khalil Shakir, and then he runs in another 6-yard touchdown in a game where, even though I'm low on the Bills, I think we could all admit, the Cardinals, we all were like, Cardinals may have a fighting chance, but everybody kind of expected the Bills to win that game. So you find yourself down 2 touchdowns, and he's just like, fuck this, hop in my backpack. I've got us this week, and he went out there and balled out. So my game ball of the week goes to Josh Allen.
All right. Chase, ass of the week.
This one I didn't have one because I wasn't even thinking about it, but I remember the meme of the week, and that is Will Levis. Will Levis, all he had to do was not give the ball to the other team because the offense didn't score a point, right? They didn't score a touchdown. and I believe defense.
Tony Pollard did. Oh wait, no, you're talking about the Bears. Never mind.
The Bears scored on a punt return for a touchdown, a pick six, and some field goals.
Yeah, all you had to do was not throw a pick there, and you're good. And then the fall to the knee.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. That shit was funny, and now the memes will live on forever. Like I saw yesterday, it was like it's Monday again. It's the Will Levis thing. It's perfect. But yeah, he gets my ass of the week.
Who gets your game ball, Chase?
Game ball of the week. No surprise here. If you know me, you know that I like to be a homer. So it's going to go with Saquon. Saquon had one of the best debuts in probably Eagles history besides T.O. 3 touchdowns. And I forgot the rest of his stats because I'm a fake fan apparently. But I mean, you can't just debut better than that. I know he started out slow, but eventually you saw like he looks like an elite running back, and I'm excited to have him. And we have the Falcons next week, so we'll see if it continues.
That receiving touchdown that Saquon had was absolutely beautiful.
It was a beautiful pass from Jalen, a beautiful catch from Saquon. Man, it was awesome.
All right, my ass of the week is no surprise. Bryce Young, 43% completion percentage, 2 picks. He was dog shit. I've already talked enough about him. Moving on to my game ball of the week. Comes from the same game as Chase. That's Jaden Reed. 4 catches, $138, and a tud, and then 33 yards rushing and another tud. I hate that Jordan Love got hurt when he did, because I really feel like week to week you're about to see Jaden Reed on a rise. And now with Malik Willis as the quarterback, I think it's going to take a quick little hinder because I just don't have any faith in Malik Willis at all. So I think he'll take a little bit of a back seat for a couple weeks until hopefully Jordan Love gets back and Jaden Reed gets back on track. But I hate it for Jaden. I hate it for Jordan too. But that's who my game ball of the week is. So
yeah, I hate it for my fantasy. My fantasy team went on a roller coaster this week. So you got Friday night. I see Jaden Reed having a hell of a game. And then towards the end there, Jordan Love gets hurt. Not a dirty play, but he gets hurt. And I'm just sitting there like, well, I'm good at quarterback because I also got Joe Burrow, but that does kind of screw over Jaden Reed. And then we get to Sunday night. Love Puka Nacua, so I'm definitely not wishing injury upon him, but it was rough. He was trying to hype himself up on the sideline and go back in, and there was a point where he could not walk, and you just see him getting carted off. And so I also have Cooper Kupp on my fantasy team. So after those lows of the injury to Jordan Love, Triple Crown Cooper Kupp is back. So we went like this throughout the week, and then Sunday night it was back up here.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, let's move on to our rookie recap. Segment where we're going to be talking about a rookie of our choice that we thought had a pretty good week this week. Or if you want to talk about a rookie who had a really shitty week that you're disappointed in, you could too. But I plan to talk about a rookie who I was impressed with each and every week. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first, and
All
I'll be
right,
a homer. I'll be a homer like Chase was. My rookie of the week is Brock Bowers. Just eye test, no stats. Eye test. He looked phenomenal. There was multiple times where, especially on that play where he was running a C route, so he was selling a slant, cut back, and he was wide open. There wasn't a defender within 10, 15 yards of him. That was beautiful. Easiest throw Gardner had. He was able to make all day. Run after the catch was fantastic. He's got some speed for a tight end, and he can block. I think a few years from now, no matter what the quarterback is, because even if you had a bad quarterback, I feel like a tight end is kind of like that security blanket. Like you can thrive with a bad quarterback as a tight end. I think you could be looking at like the next all-pro tight end and Brock Bowers.
All right, Chase. Kendall talked about Brock Bowers. Who you got?
I might go negative here. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. All right, yeah, I'll go negative. Give me Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, what a debut, right? Just like
One reception for 4 yards.
If I wasn't going to talk about Brock Bowers, I was going to talk about Marvin.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's Marvin's fault, but I mean so I can't bet on like FanDuel or anything like that. So I used Underdog, and I was like, hey, I see a Marvin Harrison stat line. I think it's like 74 yards. I mean, he's got to have the ball thrown to him, right? Yeah, 3 targets. That's all he got. If you look on Twitter, you can see there's a play where he was wide ass open, just naked. Kyler didn't see him. So Greg Dortch took all the targets and the yards from every single premier, I guess, targets, playmaker, you want to call him. In Arizona, Trey McBride only had 5 catches, 30 yards. Marvin
Yeah.
Harrison had 1 for
Golly.
4. Greg Dortch, 6 for 47. So,
Fucking
man, oh, man.
stupid.
Yeah.
I'm
but-
pissed along with you because I have Trey McBride in a lot of my fantasy leagues.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. You beat me, so.
Oh yeah, by the way, if you add Jordan Mason to your point total, you still lost by 18 points.
Oh, shit.
So just so you know that it wouldn't have mattered.
Well, if I had Christian McCaffrey, who knows? But
Yeah, no, that's a different story.
unfortunately, the San Francisco screwed me.
So, my rookie recap. I kind of had a feeling y'all were going to talk skill players, so I kind of went off the ball a little bit. Same game as Kendall, but I'm going to talk about Joe Alt. Saw a really intriguing stat that I thought was really cool this week about Joe Alt. He had 19 pass snaps where he was lined up across from either Max Crosby or Christian Wilkins. He played right tackle the majority of the game. He allowed 0 pressures in those 19 pass snaps. That, for a rookie tackle, first game, you're against one of the best premier edge rushers in the game and one of the best defensive tackles in the game, and you don't allow a single pressure is fucking incredible. I think that's a true testament about how dominant Joe Alt's going to be. But also just like you can't. I mean, he's a tackle, so I mean he is a tackle, but he had a really good game. Joe Alt owns Max Crosby.
Yeah, take that shit off.
No, technically, make that the title because technically he does.
No, I wish they would have lined up more because I know Max is mainly a left end, which means he'd go up against the right tackle. But I would be willing to bet he played more right end that game. I don't know what it's because Malcolm Kuntz got put on IR like a day or two before because he got hurt in practice. And I guess they were kind of shuffling, and they had Max shuffling all over the place. So I wish they could have went at it all day because I guarantee you he would have got at least a pressure.
Well, maybe next time because this time he allowed 0.
We'll see next time. We'll see him again.
Which then again, they're not going to throw the ball that much anyway. So I mean, on 19 pass snaps, that's not a lot of pass snaps, but it is still impressive that a first week rookie was able to line up across from 2 premier defensive players and hold his own as well as he did. But now for one of the parts of the show where I tend to get roasted the most, not only if it's in this group or if it's in the group chat after when the episode comes out tomorrow. Power rankings. So how this usually goes, and you guys can correct me if you're changing it up than we have in years past, but I have my Wyatt's top 10. That's usually where a lot of these hot takes get made. Kendall usually will power rank the AFC, and Chase will power rank the NFC. Is that still how we're doing it?
I have a little different thing I'm doing. I'm not going to rank them in numbers. I'm going to do tiers because I'm not getting roasted. So
okay, that's
so
fair.
I'm going to do tiers.
Well, why don't we start with the new thing? So Chase, why don't you go ahead and give your tiers, your power rankings for this week?
Okay. So I'm mainly doing this because this is going to be one of the articles I write for Fans First. So each week I'm going to do I'm going to call it NFC Survival Watch. And so there's 5 tiers. Bottom tier is season's over. That means you're dead. You have no chance. You're done. Even if you aren't mathematically eliminated, you are done. Then we have on life support. You can figure out what that means. Fighting for survival. You're in the mix, but you're kind of fading. You're kind of fading. In the hunt, you're probably gonna make a playoff appearance, but you're still fighting for that spot. And the top of the pack is obviously top of the pack. So let's start on life support. There's 2 teams that I already have on life support. If you watch football, you can probably guess these 2 teams. Got the Panthers and we have the Giants. Main reason, Panthers are struggling really bad. And then the Giants have Daniel Jones as their quarterback. It is what it is. Then next tier up, we got fighting for survival. I got 4 teams. I got the Falcons, just because I think they can be a good team. I just think that Kirk Cousins, if you've seen the videos of him trying to throw the ball, he can't really drive any of his passes because I think he's scared to put any pressure on his Achilles. So if you ever played quarterback, you know that your back foot is where you get all your power from, and that's where he tore his Achilles. So who knows what'll happen there? Then I got the Cardinals. I put them. I want to put them in the hunt because I feel like they showed up against the Bills, but also I'm not sure where the Bills are right now. Commanders, they lost, and I don't know how good they're going to be. And then I got the Packers. I think the Packers are going to end up being in the hunt when the season ends, but Malik Willis is a quarterback for the next couple of weeks, so they're going to be fighting all right. And then in the hunt, I got 5 teams. I got the Rams, Seahawks, Saints, Bears, and Vikings. They won. I believe all of them won, except for the Rams. Rams played the Lions. And so, I mean, the Rams had a good showing. Seahawks, they won. Saints won. Bears, I don't know why they're there, but I put them there. And then
They
the
won.
Vikings, they won. Yeah, exactly. Woohoo. In top of the pack, I got five teams. I got the 49ers, the Eagles, Lions, Cowboys, and Bucks. I think the Bucks are probably the more surprising team from last week. I mean, Baker Mayfield had a game, and if they can continue to do that against better teams, then man, oh man, look out. Cowboys beat the Browns. I know that Deshaun Watson sucks. We spent a whole 30 minutes talking about how Deshaun Watson sucks, but still the Cowboys did impress me. The Lions are the Lions. The Eagles, they beat the Packers. Great game, great team. And the 49ers, I hate them, but I mean they're a solid team. They're not in particular order. I just don't feel like ranking them. I'm not getting yelled at, but that is my NFC power ranking.
All right, Kendall. Let's switch over to the weaker conference and talk about the AFC.
All right, on the fly, I broke mine up into tiers like Chase did. So me and him can do that, and you can order them however you want, Wyatt. That's what we'll do.
You take the criticism.
Yeah, you take it.
I'm here for it.
All right, I got 6 tiers, so I'll just name them whatever I want to name them as I go. So 6 tier and ass. I got one team only, and that's the Denver Broncos. They're fucking terrible. They have no hope. They're going to stay there the whole year. Tier above them, we'll call it only not an ass because you won. That's the Patriots. That they're in their own tier right there. They're only not an ass because they won. They beat the Bengals, who suck week 1 historically. Never bet on them week 1, by the way. All right, so then I'll name this one life support. I got 4 teams. I got the Titans, the Browns, the Raiders, and the Chargers. And you might think, hey, the Chargers won. They look like dog shit, except for two runs by J.K. Dobbins. They also looked equally as dog shit. We had 3 turnovers to their 0. That is how they won. And we'll see if they move up as the season goes on. Next tier, we'll call it playoff contenders. I got the Bengals, Steelers, Colts, Jags, Jets. So 5 teams all kind of bunched up right there. I've seen enough out of the Jets to think that they could still make the playoffs. The Jags have made the playoffs 2 years ago, and they came back and beat the Chargers that year. And they were in that game with the Dolphins too. The Colts, I was impressed to see that they were hanging around with the Texans. If Anthony Richardson can just be a little bit more efficient and complete more than 9 passes, I think that they could actually make some damage or make some noise, I guess, and maybe make the playoffs. But those deep throws he had look beautiful. Steelers, only reason I have them mixed in with this is because of the respect for Mike Tomlin, like we touched on last week. I think this is going to be the year where they take a step back, but hey, they won, so we'll see where that takes them. And then the Bengals, they lost to the Patriots, yes, but they've just got a mess going on with Jamar. T. Higgins didn't play. There's only one active quarterback in the NFL today, that has beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, and that'd be Joe Burrow. So I cannot right now, after 1 week, put them below in the hunt because they're obviously in the hunt in my mind. Next tier, we'll call it contenders in the conference. I got 3 teams: Texans, Dolphins, Bills. Texans roster looks great. They look good. Joe Mixon looked fantastic. I thought going into the season he was washed, but he had 30 carries, 150 yards, and a touchdown, somewhere in there. He looked great. Dolphins, we'll see if they can keep this up in colder weather, but they always start off hot, so they're going to be a tough beat any week for now. And then the Bills, they do have Josh Allen, who can be turnover prone, definitely, that he's shown in his career, but I see them closer to the Texans and Dolphins than I do teams like the Jets, Colts, and Jags. So that's why they're in that tier. Then the top tier, I think by far the best 2 teams in the AFC. They played each other week 1 to kick off the season. We'll call this the juggernauts. You got the Chiefs and the Ravens. The Ravens, Lamar had a few missed throws, week 1 kinks. And then if Isaiah Likely's shoe size is 1 size smaller, they're probably still playing in overtime right now as we speak. So that is my AFC power rankings.
All right. Now it's time for me to get roasted, boys. So strap in. So I have one honorable mention this week. It was a team I wanted to put in the top 10, but I couldn't because I didn't have room. Kind of what I did was I took all the teams that won that I thought were worth a fuck, and then any teams that lost that played like a really good opponent, i.e. the Rams, and put them on a list and kind of got down to 10 and then ordered them from there. My honorable mentions the Saints. I put them at 11. We kicked some fucking ass, and at least for this week, we're going to be 11. So I'm going to take that and be happy about it. Number 10, the Rams. They lost, but they're a good team. Number 9, I have the Bills. Like we've talked about, kind of some question marks, but they won this week. They beat a team in Arizona who has some sparks, but should have won anyway, and they did. 8 is the Dolphins. They had a pretty good game. It was close though. They almost lost to Jacksonville. They really could have lost that game, even after having 400 yards of total offense. That kind of scares me because that says something whether we're not capitalizing at the end of drives or the defense isn't doing their job. There's a problem there. Moving on from that, at 7, I have the Houston Texans. They beat a really good Colts team, and I think they showed that they are one of the better teams. They are the best team in that AFC South division, but they're also going to continue to be competing for a playoff spot. That's number 6. I have the Eagles. Close win over the Packers. Very solid showing. I think that they'll have room to move up. It really just the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5 teams I put ahead of them. I just didn't know where I could move them forward from there. Number 5, I have the Lions. Overtime win against the Rams, another team on this list. I was very much contemplating Lions and Eagles back and forth. The thing that was a differentiator for me was the Lions beat another team on this list. The Eagles did not. So that's why I put the Lions ahead of the Eagles. But I think they're interchangeable at that 5 spot. Number 4, I have the Ravens. They lost. But they're still a top 5. They're still a top 5 team in the league, in my opinion. I think if they'd have won, they'd have been number 1. So you lose to the Chiefs, you drop down 3 spots to number 4. Number 3, I have the Cowboys. Dominant showing this week. They played really well. They beat a Browns team by a lot. They showed that they can play well on all 3 phases of the field. So I really liked what they showed. And I'm gonna be honest. Do I think the Cowboys are a top 3 team 3 weeks from now? No. But we have a 1-week sample size to choose from. So you got to take what I'm saying with a grain of salt just because we had 1 week of games to pick from. Number 2, I had the 49ers. For obvious reasons, they beat a really solid Jets team. And number 1, I have the Chiefs. Chiefs beat the Ravens. And they're the defending Super Bowl champ. So until they lose, I don't see a way in which I can take them off the number 1 spot.
I think that's a really solid list. I think the only thing I'd change is flip the Eagles and Cowboys. That'd be the only change that I made.
All right. Sorry, Chase. Moving on. We're always going to piss somebody off, right? That's the point of the whole show. We're going to talk about game picks for week 2. We're going to start with Thursday night football. Buffalo travels and plays in Miami on Thursday night. Who do we got?
I'm
trying to pull up the app.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I'll take this one. Miami is a 2.5-point favorite at home against Buffalo. I'm going to take Miami. I think that the questions we talked about earlier with Buffalo and their playmakers is going to show up this game, and I'm going to take Miami, and I'm going to take the points as well.
I have Miami as well. I think Jalen Ramsey on Keon Coleman, that's going to be a pretty locked down matchup. So not going to be able to do a whole lot.
I'm going to take the Bills. I originally had the Dolphins, but I'm going to take the Bills just to be different.
You're just trying to be different, you hippie.
Yeah.
That's all he's trying to do, dude.
I'm already down enough in the pick 'em, so I'm going to try to catch up a little bit.
Oh yeah, I'm in 3rd place. The fact that Jake and B-Rich are the 2 winners should tell you all that need to know.
Yeah. But no, White said the Dolphins had 400 yards of offense, and that concerned him. And I think the Bills are a better team than the Jags. So give me the Bills.
All right, moving on. First game of the 12 o'clock window, we have Las Vegas heading over to Baltimore. I'm sorry, Kendall. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm taking Baltimore at home.
Go ahead, Chase.
Baltimore they're at home, so they're going to this game as 9.5-point favorites. I'm not sure.
You're going to take Ravens to cover?
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens to cover. Until Gardner showed me something, I can't. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
So 17 games in the season. I will pick the Raiders 17 times. So I'm taking the Raiders just to back my team. How we can pull it off if there's a way. The Ravens' offensive line looked rough. So Max Crosby, Chris Wilkins got to show up, show out, get a strip sack, and we need a defensive touchdown if we're going to win this game. So give me the Ravens.
Good thing Joe Alt doesn't play for the Ravens.
We'll see next time we play, bud. We'll come back to
that. All right. Moving on. Speaking of Joe Alt, the team Joe Alt plays for, the Los Angeles Chargers, go to Carolina to play in front of 46 people. Who do we have? I have a feeling I know who Kendall's going to pick out of spite, but so Chase, who do you have?
So right now tickets are as low as $20. I imagine they'll be as low as $1.
I heard you could get a ticket for $1.20.
Yeah, probably some point, some website, probably. If you go to TickPick, more than likely, yeah.
Dude, you can get candy from the dollar store that's more expensive than that shit.
Yeah, and you enjoy the candy more, probably.
Shit.
Also, I live in South Carolina, so I get Facebook ads for the Panthers for whatever reason. Obviously, it's got to live closer to them. Did you know you can get season tickets to the Panthers for as low as $20 a month? Boy, oh boy, I wish they offered that for the Eagles. But here we are. We have to wait 60 years to get them. But the Chargers are only 6.5-point favorites. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna take the Panthers to cover that. I think I'm gonna take the Chargers to win, but I'm gonna pick Carolina and take the 6.5. I don't think the Chargers are that good, and I don't think the Panthers are that far off from the Chargers.
Kendall, why are you picking the Panthers?
I'm picking the Panthers because the Chargers suck just as much as the Panthers. So give me the Panthers. Bryce Young's going to pull it off somehow. Deontay Johnson, 100-yard game incoming.
He's going to figure it out, man.
I'm going to pick the Chargers. And one of the big reasons why is, I don't know if y'all saw this just about an hour ago, they placed Derek Brown on IR. So their best defensive tackle is now on IR. Their defense looked dog shit anyway, but without him, they're going to be able to run the ball even better. And if that's what LA wants to do, they want to run the ball 30 times and grind it out and win that way. So I have LA doing what they plan to do. All right, so moving on. My game. Saints go to Jerry's World and play the Cowboys. Saints going to win this game, and I'm going to tell you why. All right? We're going to shut the run down. Zeke ain't doing shit. All right? That takes out one phase of the game. All right? Yes, they have CeeDee Lamb, but who else do they have? Marshawn
Brandon
Lattimore.
Cooks.
I ain't worried about his bitch ass. He's fucking old as fuck. I think we got him locked. You put Marshawn Lattimore and Tyrann Mathieu over the top on CeeDee Lamb, we're going to contain him to hopefully not a great showing. That's the goal. You're not going to stop CeeDee Lamb, but can you contain him? And can you stop the run and shut the offense down? I think we can. Now, they have a great defense. Great fucking defense. But hey, the offense looked pretty fucking good last week. So if we can get the run game going, if we can just give Derek a little bit of fucking time. Micah Parsons on, oh God. The thought of Micah Parsons on Trevor Penning has me, oh God, that's going to be bad. So you might as well expect a free rusher coming from the right side every single play. So hey, step out, throw. Step back, throw. Step in, throw. Hey, we got to do it. Derek Carr can make it work. We got the Saints winning this one.
I'm going to ride with you, buddy. I'm taking the Saints, and I'm going to tell you why. Interesting stat from Kendall off the top of his head. But unless Derek Carr lost in AT&T Stadium last year, he has not lost in AT&T Stadium. As far as I can remember, he played one game in AT&T Stadium as the Raiders on Thanksgiving. And him and Hunter Renfrow and Josh Jacobs, those three, went out and won them a football game on Thanksgiving. And that was a great game, by the way. So give me the Saints. I don't know how they're going to do it with that offensive line, blocking Mike Parsons, but they're going to find a way, buddy.
Double, triple, double team hedge blocked by the running back. We might get 4 seconds in the pocket.
Dallas is a 6.5 point favorite. I'm never picking Dallas. That's just something that's never going to happen. I guess give me the Saints, man.
We're all on the Saints, baby.
Let's go.
You sold me, man. You sold me.
2-0. All right, moving on. I'm hype about that. We got the worst team, one of the worst teams in the NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, playing at Detroit. I'm not going to lie. If this was at Tampa Bay, I'd give them a chance. But, man, playing at Detroit is going to be tough game to win. I have Detroit. Primarily, they're the better team, and they're playing at home. So, for me, that's what I'm taking.
Yeah, I got Detroit pretty convincing fashion in this one. I think I'm on Amon-Ra St. Brown comes back to life, and I think he has a big game against the Bucs secondary.
Could use one.
The Lions are 7-point favorites, and everything in my gut is telling me to pick the Bucs. I guess I'm going to pick the Lions, man. I'm going against my gut. They already burned me once during the draft when I picked CMC. But I'm taking the Lions.
Me once. Can't get fooled again. Moving on. We got AR5 and the Indianapolis Colts traveling to Lambeau Field to play Malik Willis and the Green Bay Packers. I'm not going to pick the Packers as long as Malik Willis is the quarterback. So give me the Colts.
Yeah, if Jordan Love was playing, I'd be hammering the Packers. I'd be all over them, but I don't trust Malik Willis at all either. So give me the Colts.
Colts are 3-point favorites in Lambeau. Give me the Colts.
I'd take them to cover too.
Yeah, I would too.
I would.
Moving on. Something in my gut tells me this is a trap game. We have Deshaun Watson traveling to Jacksonville to play the Jags. I have the Jags winning this game, but I would not be surprised if the Browns found a way to pull this one out.
I also have the Jags winning. I may be the only one out there that's high on them, and mixed in with Deshaun Watson just playing horrible. So I'm gonna take the Jags.
Chase.
Tickets are as low as $29 at this particular game. Jaguars are 3-point favorites, but I'm going to take the Browns to win and to cover because I believe in that defense. I do not believe in Jacksonville's offense.
Fair enough. All right, moving on. Last game of the, or no, it's not the last game of the 12 o'clock window. We haven't got to bye weeks yet, so there's a lot of these motherfuckers. San Francisco travels to Minnesota to play their former backup quarterback, Sam Darnold. I don't think that's going to fucking matter. I think Jordan Mason and the boys are going to walk into fucking, what is that, AT&T? Or no, that's fucking U.S. Bank.
U.S. Bank.
I know AT&T is the Cowboys. I thought there was another stadium called AT&T too. But I know U.S. Bank, and they're gonna kick their ass. So give me the 49ers.
Are we giving the Vikings a chance at all? Anybody?
No.
No. Okay. Well, then give me the 49ers.
6-point favorites. Give me San Francisco to win and to cover.
Did y'all see the meme about Fred Warner yesterday?
I did not.
So Fred Warner before the game was in the the hype circle. You know how every team has a little speech before the game. He says we're gonna come out here and beat a motherfucker's ass. Well, funny enough, they showed that, and then in the post game interview, they're interviewing Garrett Wilson, and he goes, "We just got our ass beat today," with no correlation of knowing that the other one said it. And I think, in the words of Fred Warner, they're gonna go beat a motherfucker's ass. But moving on, staying in the NFC West, Seattle travels to New England to play Gerard Mayo and the New England Patriots. I think in this game, it comes down to who has the most talent. It's going to be a boring game, but the Seahawks just have overall more talent. DK Metcalf and Kenneth Walker and Tyler Lockett, JSN. So give me Seattle.
Seahawks.
This game is going to be boring. It's going to be really boring. Seattle has 3.5 points. I'm taking Seattle to win, and I'm taking Seattle to cover.
All right.
The closest... NFL sure did go all out on week one with the matchups, but
yeah,
a lot of these are rough.
I had to come back to reality. This next one isn't going to be very fun either. This is the home game for me over here in Tennessee. We got the Jets traveling to Tennessee to take on Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans. I think you're going to see a lot more of this. So give me the Jets.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Jets, and I think this is where you're gonna see like the real Jets team when they're not playing the 49ers. So I got the Jets pretty convincingly.
Well,
what's the spread? What's the spread on that one, Chase?
There's 3.5 points. Obviously, the Jets are favored.
I'd take that all day.
And White, if you want to go to this game, it's only $43. You can get in at $43. But I'm going to take the Jets to win and to cover.
All right. Moving on, a little NFC East action. Daniel Jones, Brian Daboll, and the New York Football Giants travel a short little trip over to Washington to play all the Washington Commanders. I have the Commanders winning this game. I think Jane Daniels might go for 250 and 100 on the ground. So give me the Commanders.
I know the Commanders lost week one, but according to the Sleeper app, it says winning probability for the Commanders is 55%, Giants 45%. So that's only 5% off of a pick 'em. And I don't see it like that at all. I'm not taking the Giants this year, no matter who they play. Daniel Jones sucks.
I'd take them against the Panthers.
I'd take the Panthers. I would 100% take the Panthers in that. So give me the Commanders, and whatever the spread is, however much they're favored by, I'm taking it. They're covering.
If you had to guess what the spread was, what'd you say?
It just off win. If it was just me, I'd go 9.5 too. But I'm sure they got it at like 3,
No, they have it at 1.5.
1.5.
Yeah. Give me the Commanders. Give me the Commanders to cover. I'll do an alt spread of at least 6.
Yeah, boost your odds a little bit.
I mean, I don't see a world where it's like they both stink, but I mean, the Giants are on like another level of stink. They are like
They're
not
bad.
good. They're very bad with no hope.
All right. Well, two teams that aren't that bad, but both lost. Yeah, but both lost. We have the LA Rams traveling to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. The Rams are taking this one. I think it could be a close game because, it's a divisional game, so there's always some bullshit that could happen. Especially with divisional games, it's always likely for it to be a tighter game than most. But I'm going to take the Rams to win.
All right.
I think this is going to be. I think this is going to be one of the more exciting games of the weekend, like as in points wise. Cardinals are actually favored on the sleeper app by 2%, 52-48. So I'm going to take the Rams, but this is going to be a good game to watch.
All right. Well, what do you think Vegas has odds set for this game or the line?
I'm gonna say pick them.
1.5.
For who?
1.5 favor the Rams.
Nope, Cardinals. However, I'm taking the Rams here.
What the fuck?
I just want to see. I want to see the Cardinals do a little bit more before I, pick them.
Vegas must still be like real high on the Bills. Then,
Yeah,
it's got to be what it is.
yeah.
Well, two teams that I'm not high on at all. Pittsburgh travels to Mile High to play the Denver Broncos. Both teams are the definition of like a mayonnaise sandwich, boring, and not a whole lot of excitement. I have Pittsburgh winning this game. I literally could see this game being like 13-10 or like 16-10 where Chris Boswell hits fucking 6 field goals again. It could be something like that.
I'll go this time.
Go ahead, buddy.
I was covering you. The over under on this game is 36.5, which is the least amount of points for any game this week.
That's right.
The Steelers are 3-point favorites going into Denver. Denver stinks, and I believe in Justin Fields still. So give me the Steelers. If Russell Wilson plays, I might switch over to the Broncos.
I'm not taking the Broncos at all this year. I don't know who I'd take if the Broncos and Giants play each other. I'd just take the Giants just because I hate the Broncos. But no, I think the Steelers win, and this is going to be a snooze fest.
All right. This game could be the game of the week. It's going to take this team coming out of the woodwork based on how they played in last week's game to make this competitive. But Burrow returns to Burrowhead and takes on the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think it's been called Burrowhead for a while, but hey, if he wins, it will be. They'll call it until the next time they play. So I have Kansas City winning this game just because of how bad Cincinnati looked last week. They lost to the fucking Patriots. How do you go from? Anything's possible, but going from losing to the Patriots to beating the Chiefs just sounds like, especially the Chiefs at home.
Man, you can't call it Burrowhead and Joe Burrow be one of your favorite players and then not pick them.
I love Joe Burrow, but man, I'm just realistic, and I'm trying to win this pick 'em because I want a free jersey. So
that's fair.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take the Bengals because I'm realistic, and I can confirm that if the Chiefs have a kryptonite, his name is Joe Burrow. So T. Higgins is gonna play this Sunday. Jamar's gonna go off this week since he didn't get targeted enough last week. Give me the Bengals.
Taylor Swift's there; they're fucked.
No, it doesn't matter. Travis Kelce's watched anyway.
6.5 point spread favors the Chiefs. I'm taking an emotional hedge because I need the Bengals to suck. So the ticket prices for the Eagles, Bengals game goes down, because right now the cheapest ticket you can find is $300. It's a lot of money. So I'm going to take the Chiefs, and if the Bengals win, I'll be happy. But the Chiefs win, I'll also be happy for my own personal gain.
All right. Moving on to a game where I have the same reasoning as you, Chase. I'm trying to go see the Bears play at the end of the month against the Rams. And right now, tickets are at $210 for nosebleeds.
Oh, wow.
So they play the Texans on Sunday Night Football. And I need the Texans to stomp their fucking ass so the fucking ticket prices will go down, because I'm not paying $200 to watch a team that I don't even like. So give me the Texans by 1 million.
I'm also going to take the Texans by 1 million. The Bears won because of those touchdowns that we talked about, those picks and the punts. So, and that was against Will Levis and the Titans, who I wouldn't consider a good offense by any means. They're like all right at best. So now they face an elite offense. So we'll see if those same things happen. Give me the Texans, and I'll take them to cover whatever spread it is.
Houston's favored by 7. Caleb Williams and the Bears are going to shock the world. They're going to put the world on notice.
Here we
go.
Here we go. You're saying
Here
that
we go.
stay facing the group chat. You know.
Bear down, baby.
Yeah, try to stay face so Logan and Jake don't come at your head again.
Caleb Williams is the truth, man. He's had a rough week 1. Yeah.
I'll let Bryce take all the hate.
Bear down, baby.
Moving
He's
on.
gonna pick the Texans. He's gonna pick the Texans Sunday. He's gonna switch that quick, fast, and in a hurry, and he's gonna
switch it on the pick 'em.
Yeah, he's got Texans on there right now, and he's gonna hope nobody notices once we can see it.
Not a chance in the world am I switching up on my team.
I'll take a fucking screenshot as soon as the game fucking posts. I'm not letting that shit slide. All right, last game, Monday Night Football. Like Chase said, a long time waiting from Thursday to Monday, but Philly finally gets to play at home against Atlanta. Atlanta's dog shit. Fuck Atlanta. Fuck everything they stand for. Fuck their owner. Fuck their coach. Fuck their players. Kyle Pitts a bust. Drake London's ass. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles.
Bijan Robinson, 250 all-purpose yards game incoming. With that being said, give me the Eagles by double digits.
The Nick Foles will be retiring as an Eagle Monday night. On Monday Night Football.
Oh God.
I believe he will be at some point. He'll be in the Eagles Hall of Fame. But
you got a fucking statue of him out front of the stadium. I hope so.
I've seen that statue millions of times. I love that thing. But the crowd will be electric. They'll be more electric because they're all mad because the NFL took away a home game for the game in Brazil. But Nick Foles in the building. Man, oh man, I wish I was there for that game. I'm taking the Eagles. The 6.5 point spread opened up at 3 points, moved to 6.5 real quick. You could have made it 21 points. I would have took the Eagles to cover because I think that they will whoop the Falcons' ass. And if I'm wrong, I don't want to be wrong because Nick Foles is going to be in the building, man. He did it for us. God, I miss him.
All right. Well,
hello?
Sorry. That concludes week 1 and the start of week 2. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, Link Lineup channel. All of our videos will be over here from now on, so make sure to give them some love and all the other podcasts that they put out. Also, look at us anywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, fucking SoundCloud, fucking LimeWire, wherever the fuck you listen to your podcast, fucking Stream East. I don't know. Follow us on there. We had a really good showing for our first video. Hopefully you guys will come back and watch it again. If you've made it to this point, it's only probably about 6 of you. We appreciate you making it all the way through. Really helps the viewership on the YouTube metrics. So we appreciate that. But most importantly, Kendall, Chase, as always, it's been fun. Next week, it'll be interesting to see how our takes win, who our ass of the week and our game balls are going to, and who will win and who will lose. But at the end of the day, it's always who dat.
Was that the sign off? Was that the sign off?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Who dat, baby?
Go Birds.